today is Friday, and so it's Fun Fact Friday. So today, let's talk about a fun fact. I absolutely love getting DMs, I love getting comments, I love getting emails about fun facts, and I absolutely am incredible. So today, last week we talked about a fun fact, which was that I am a gamer. Not professionally, but just in my spare time. And so I'm pretty excited about that. Today, I want to talk about an incredible fun fact that a lot of you may not know. I did a Tough Mudder. I completed a Tough Mudder. And if you don't know what a Tough Mudder is, it is a mud challenge, obstacle course, mini marathon type of thing. But the problem and what's fun and interesting about this fact is that I completed it with a broken shoulder. Yeah, I know, a broken shoulder. At about mile 2, I was running with a guy who completes marathons, and I had just met him probably 45 minutes before that, and he was with a group of my friends, and I was running alone, and so he's like, hey, you can keep the pace and you're pretty fast, so do you want to run with me? I'm like, hey, sure. And so the very first obstacle that we jumped over and we landed in mud, he lost his shoes, so he's running without shoes. As marathoners, they've actually sometimes trained to do that, so it was fine. But at mile 2, we did an obstacle where you have to hang on, and I remember getting on, and I turned back to look to my partner to ask my partner, how am I going to complete this challenge? Because the board is literally like this big. It was like an inch wide, and you had to hang on to it, and you had to go across it. And behind you is another group of people going across it. So you're back to back, and there's this much room. It's probably a little bit more like this much room. And if you fall, it's just a bunch of muddy, gross, disgusting water. And so the object is to get across the thing. I thought I could do this, right? I was nimble, I was quick, I was fast. But when I turned around to ask my partner how I was going to do it, I lost my concentration and focus, and I fell. I went straight back like this, and I hit the platform, which was like a board platform. I mean, it was covered, but it was still board. And it just snapped. My shoulder blade in the back snapped. And I remember getting up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was dizzy, I was nauseous, it was crazy. And so I had to walk through all of this. And when I got to the thing, the platform that you had to crawl up, the ladder, I looked up at all these guys, and they were like, we heard it, are you okay? And I go, I can't move. I can't climb up. And so they helped pull me up without pulling my shoulder. And there was a medic there, and he looked at me and he goes, you know what? I think you're fine. It looks like a mark, but I think you're going to be okay. You can continue. And so I went ahead and I continued until the next obstacle. And so there was guys behind me, and my partner was in front of me. And we had decided, as we were waiting to enter this tunnel, it was like these huge tubes to go in, that we would, if anything happened, he would pull me out and the guys behind me would push me forward. Because when you start the Tough Mudder race, you are literally with 200 other people, and they're like your core group, and you kind of run with them. And I said, okay, we can do this. And I get in, and we're starting the uphill of the tube. You can't get out. Once you're in there, you're in there, so you have to get back out. There was a moment of panic because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't crawl out. I couldn't move my arm. It was tightening up. It was throbbing. And so he grabbed my arm while the guys behind me pushed me out. And when we came out, he said, we can stop now or we can continue. And I'm like, well, let's get to the next medical facility. And so we kept running, but I just didn't use that arm. So I had to run one-armed. And then when we got to the polar plunge, it's a famous part of the Tough Mudder race. We got there, and they wanted to black flag me, which meant that I could no longer run the course. And I literally said to them, if you don't let me run this course, I will make sure you don't know who I am. I will take off my number. I will change my number. I will continue to move forward. I've taken these risks. I'm not stupid, but I'm going to complete this race. I've started something and I'm going to finish it. And so with the understanding was that I had to be taped up. So they taped me up, they wrapped me, they put all these ice packs around my shoulder, and I had to promise not to get on anything or do any of the obstacles that would require someone to have to potentially pull my shoulder out. And so I was cool with that. And it was kind of funny because I became known as the girl with a broken shoulder. And so when we would be running along and these guys, these huge guys would be on the side of the road gasping for air, I would run along and be like, "Hey, Buttercup, broken shoulder, move it." And they'd be like, "Oh man, that is the girl with the broken shoulder." And so I finished it. And I remember my partner, you know, he was young. He was like 23, I think. And I remember him wanting to quit the race because if I couldn't continue, he wasn't going to continue. And I just remember thinking, no way, I don't even know this guy, but I can't do that. And I had 3 children at home that wanted me to finish, and I couldn't tell them I quit, even with a broken shoulder. I knew I had to continue going. And so on this Fun Fact Friday, that was my fun fact, is that I completed a Tough Mudder half marathon race with a broken shoulder. And not only that, but after the race, which by the way, I got clapped and cheered and whatever, we had to wait for everybody else in the group. I then had to go clean, shower. Then I went to dinner with this group of people that were so incredible. They were good friends of mine. And then I made the trip all the way back to Omaha, Nebraska, so I could get to the ER to have my shoulder looked at. So this happened, you know, within minutes of the race, you know, at mile 2. So within an hour of the race, I had a broken shoulder. And I did not, and the race started at 7 o'clock, I think, 8 o'clock in the morning. I did not get looked at until midnight. That's what time I was actually seen by a doctor, was at midnight. So with that was a Fun Fact Friday. I just wanted to say that sometimes we have to remind ourselves that our mind gives out before our body. And throughout that race, I learned that my mind is pretty strong, and that when my body wants to say, okay, I've had enough, stop running, stop this, stop whatever, I have to get my mind right, and then that helps me complete my task. And I just knew that I could not disappoint. I couldn't let this guy down. I couldn't disappoint my children. And so on this Fun Fact Friday, to share a fun fact or something surprising that you learned about yourself so far in this crazy journey of life. And with that, thank you guys so much. Thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, whatever you need to do. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you have an amazing day, and here's to all the happiness and success. I'll talk soon.